You find a guy at every Porsche Cars and Coffee, 70 years old, who saved 30 years for the 911 beside him. Brakes 200 feet before every corner, never lets the flat six past 4,000 RPM, and trailers it home because his back hurts. That right there is depreciation. Financial advisors have been running the same pitch on Porsche guys for 50 years, looking at your machine and seeing a row on a depreciation schedule, waving compound interest charts at you, telling you that if you parked that money in index funds for 30 years, you'd retire with an extra million in the bank. What they leave out is that those 30 years aren't free. Every single day, you're commuting in a Camry and staring at the 911 in the dealer window across the street. You're paying a tax that shows up in every Uber you took because you talked yourself out of the right car. In every Sunday morning your dad spent on the couch with his coffee getting cold instead of out on the back roads where he belonged. Sure, the MSRP number drops, and the accountant is right about that one column on his spreadsheet, but he's missing every other column that matters. A 2018 Carrera that sold new in the upper 90s changes hands today around $75,000, and the accountant calls that 25 grand of depreciation. He has 0 columns for the 7 years of weekend drives, the mountain pass memories, and the sound of a flat six at full song. So the spreadsheet treats those years as 0. That's the part of this whole conversation that's broken. Now run it from the other side, where the real numbers actually live. Start with your time, the most expensive thing you own, and the one nobody's selling you a hedge against. INRIC's scorecard data says the average American spends 49 hours a year stuck in traffic, which is more than 2 full days of your year watching brake lights. If you ride public transit, the number gets worse, because now you're at the mercy of a schedule you don't control and a transit authority that's missed its on-time targets every quarter for a decade. Then move to your safety. The MTA reported over 2,200 major felonies on the New York subway system last year alone, and the bus isn't any better. Rideshare drivers get vetted by an algorithm in 5 minutes and a scan of their license. So when you climb into that car, you're trusting a stranger who knows where you live and where you work the second you book the ride. Tell me again about the depreciating asset. Now think about your dignity. The unwanted touch in the crowded train car, the drunk passenger on the late flight, the Uber driver who plays gas station roulette with the AC and reaches across the console without asking. You paid for that ride, and he's treating you like you're interrupting his shift. Finally, factor in your energy, drained by heat and rain and smells and chaos. The August subway platform sits at 110 degrees because the cooling system died and they won't run another train for 40 minutes. The smell of food someone's eating 2 seats down hits you on a 90-minute ride home. The chaos of a transit hub where your connection's delayed. The announcement is in a language you don't speak, and your phone is dying. Every single one of those is depreciation, just happening to you instead of to the car, eating your time, your safety, your dignity, and your energy. The accountant has no column for any of it, so you've been told it doesn't exist. Now run those numbers on a Porsche. You get climate control that holds 72 degrees inside the cabin, whether it's 110 outside in Phoenix or 10 below in Boston. Seats designed by a company that knows how to keep a driver's spine straight at 200 miles an hour. And a cabin that's your space, where nobody's sitting next to you uninvited, where you control the music, the temperature, the speed, and the route, and you leave when you want to leave. That's something no appreciating asset on Earth can buy you, because index funds won't drive you home, a REIT won't pick your kid up from school, and a high-yield savings account doesn't have a flat six soundtrack on the way to dinner. They're great financial instruments and useless as transportation. Look at the hours those things buy back. How many hours a week does the average commuter without a car spend on transit logistics? 30 minutes a day waiting for the train. 40 minutes a week walking to and from stops, 2 hours a month standing in lines at airport rideshare pickup. 6 hours a year on canceled or rescheduled trips because the bus didn't show. The whole thing adds up to around 300 hours a year, which is almost 2 months of full-time work every year gone to logistics. Now, think about what 300 hours back in your life actually looks like. The time with your kids, the time at the gym, the time on a side project, the time in the garage with the hood up and a wrench in your hand. A Porsche owner who works from home, drives the car when he wants, and never thinks about a transit schedule again is buying back time at a rate no investment account on earth can match. Here's the number your accountant has been wrong about for 10 straight years. The Porsche 911 has the lowest 5-year depreciation of any new car in America, according to IC Cars data, losing just 19.5% of its value over 5 years, while the average new car loses 45%. A 992 Carrera, bought right at the depreciation sweet spot, kept clean, serviced on time, and driven the way it was meant to be driven, loses less value per year than a brand new Camry does. Your accountant has been wrong about Porsche for a decade, and he either forgot the math or knew it and left it out because it would have ruined his whole thesis. Now we get to the part that hurts. Here's the thing that's been stuck in my head for weeks. Nobody talks about a depreciating life, and most people will save every penny they earn just to die with a lot of money in the bank. Read that twice, and then read it a third time and let it land. We've been so trained to see the car as the financial loss that we've stopped seeing what we're losing in the meantime. Your reflexes aren't a renewable resource. Your hearing isn't a renewable resource, and your back isn't a renewable resource. Your body's already started reminding you of that. The AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety has been publishing the data on this for years, showing that by age 65, the average driver has lost meaningful reaction time at the wheel compared to age 30. That night vision drops off a cliff after 60, and that spirited driving on a twisty back road becomes the kind of thing your cardiologist starts asking you to scale back. The man who waits until retirement to buy his dream Porsche is buying it the same decade his body can't drive it the way the engineers built it. Remember the guy from the start of this video? He spent 30 years saving, 30 years dreaming, and 30 years convincing his wife the Porsche makes sense. He earned that car, he owns that car, and he can't drive it the way the engineers built it to be driven. The factory designed that machine for a guy with sharp eyes, fast hands, and the willingness to commit to a corner. And he doesn't have those things anymore. He waited too long. That's the depreciating life. Saved every penny, missed every drive, and now the car sits in the garage as physical proof of every decade he spent putting it off. Life is short. You need to buy that car, and you need to believe that with everything you've got. If you've been waiting for someone to say that out loud, hit the like button right now, because there's another guy out there sitting in the wrong car, and the like is what gets this video to him. That's the whole point of this video, and you should believe it. The numbers stop lying when you finally do the right math. The accountant who told you to wait was running the wrong formula, and the friend who told you it was an irresponsible purchase has never sat in the driver's seat of a 911 at 6,500 RPM on a clear morning with the rev hang gone and the road empty in front of them. You didn't work this hard so the years between now and your dream car would be the best ones. You worked this hard so you could enjoy them. So what does this mean for you? Sitting in your driveway right now in the wrong car. It means the math you've been running has the wrong inputs. You've been told the Porsche loses value, while a 992 Carrera depreciates slower than the Toyota Camry sitting in the same driveway. You've been told to wait until you can afford it without flinching, while the years you spend waiting are the years you're actually being charged for. The bill comes due in lost weekends, lost back roads, lost engine notes, and the slow erosion of the version of you who was actually built to drive that car. And by the time you finally write the check, the man who would have enjoyed it the most is already gone. The right move isn't reckless, and nobody's telling you to put a GT3 on a credit card. The right move is to do the actual math, the full math, the one that includes the cost of waiting, and to run it on a 992 Carrera at the depreciation sweet spot, around 3 to 5 years old. Haggerty has the numbers. IC Cars has the numbers. And the total cost of ownership over 5 years on a clean used 911, including insurance and maintenance, often comes in lower than a new mid-trim BMW 5 Series. Those numbers have been sitting in the data the whole time. Porsche dealers know it too, with allocations on GT cars running multi-year wait lists at top dealerships. Bring-a-trailer auction prices on clean 996 turbos and 997 GT3s climbing for 5 straight years, and Porsche itself producing collector-grade variants in production runs of a few hundred. The smart money has been running the right math for a long time, and they just forgot to tell you. Money can grow again, because compound interest is real, and you can earn it back, invest it back, and rebuild a portfolio at 50. Lost time never grows back. Lost reflexes never grow back. And lost weekends with a flat 6 at Redline never grow back. So buy the car. If you finally know it's time, drop a comment and tell me which 911 you're pulling the trigger on. Whether that's the 992 Carrera Sweet Spot, a clean 996 Turbo from 2002, or a 997 GT3 with a manual gearbox. I want to read every one of those in the comments. Next week, we're doing a full breakdown on the exact 911 generation with the highest 5-year return on investment of any 911 ever sold in America. And it's not the GT3, it's not the Turbo S, and it's not the model your friends would guess. When you see which one, you'll understand why dealers won't even put you on the wait list. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Keep your revs high and your valves splayed. This is Dave from Porsche Pulse. Catch you later.